Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fallacious Truth. I found an article here while I was browsing Facebook. It goes like this: a man wants to know if he's a jerk or not for not accommodating a child on a plane. From what I can see, he got a bunch of mixed responses. There's a bunch of people that say that he should have been accommodating to the child and the mother, and quite honestly, equally, if not even more people who say the converse. They say that, that mother should have been entertaining that child, keeping a lookout on the child, because, it's not his responsibility, and ultimately, it's not his responsibility. So let's take a look at the article here and see what we have to say about it. So, traveling on an airplane alone can be stressful. You never know who you're going to be seated next to, and if you just want to be left alone, it can be frustrating if you're next to someone asking requests of you, especially if it's a parent and their toddler. Case in point, one man who recently posted on the popular Reddit, Am I the A-hole? People post their stories and ask readers' opinions if they're, the jerk about a situation, or if it's the other person. In this man's case, he was on an airplane seated next to the parent of a child. It was a pretty long flight, and I had the window seat, the man explains. I don't know if it's important, but I had taken some edibles for the flight. Next to me is a mother and her child, which was 2 to 3 years old. There were a few incidents that actually went down. First, the mom asked if she could switch seats with the kids so he could look out the window. And this is him talking here. The first incident happened with the mother asking if I would trade seats so her kid could look out the window. I declined and said I would rather sit in the seat that I paid for, and then proceeded to put my AirPods in and started to watch some New Girl. I guess that's a TV show? I'm not sure. And I could hear the child cry and be upset that I wouldn't do as the mother asked. After a little while, the man decided to play some games on his phone. The child was very focused on it, but then, as everybody probably knows, you get tired of mobile games, so you eventually turn it off. Then the mom asked him another request. She asked if I wouldn't mind keeping on playing the game as it was entertaining her son. I said no, and as soon as I did that, the child started crying and trying to grab my phone. I simply raised my hand so the child couldn't reach the phone. So I said in a louder tone, please control your child. Bro, you have just denied the request of an entitled mother who doesn't want to deal with her own child and expects you to because, well, as you can see, the child found entertainment value in you and not her. So she's seeing this and she wants to take advantage of it because she can now get off the hook in entertaining her own child, which is her responsibility, mind you, not his. Well, you see, that didn't go over too well with the mother. That made the mother grab the boy and completely freak out at him, and she screamed at him that I shouldn't be such an asshole and that I'm only thinking about me. So, am I the asshole? So, what do you think, fellas? Is he the asshole for not giving in to this entitled mother and entertaining the child? Or is he in the right, which I personally believe he is, and just keeping to himself? And, if he doesn't want to entertain the child at the behest of the mother, then well, that's his choice and that's his right. She needs to deal with it. Well, apparently the story blew up with thousands of people commenting on one side or another. However, the majority did decide that he was not the jerk in the case. And, well, like I said, I believe it. The mother knew that she was on a flight with a child, so she should have brought things along to entertain the child rather than relying on someone she didn't know. And if she wanted a window seat, she could have booked one. Someone else wrote, no, you're not the asshole. Just because you're stuck in a metal tube doesn't mean that you suddenly become a parent or a babysitter. Another one said, no, you're not the asshole at all. Could you have been more accommodating? Sure. Should you have? Well, that's your choice, and absolutely not if you didn't want to. You did nothing in the wrong. This brings up something else too. It's not necessarily the right topic for this, or at least not the right time for it here, maybe in another video, but the court of public opinion. How much emphasis or value, do you place on it? Is it important to you? Should it be important to everybody else? Apparently, it is important to a lot of people because there's actually lots of subreddits about different things that you can get the court of public opinion on. And, it may not necessarily go the way you want. Just because 1,000 people say one thing is correct doesn't make that thing actually correct. Regardless of modern public opinion, there's still a right and a wrong. There is still a firm yes or a no. We've gotten away from standards in society today. We're now at the point where however you feel in the current situation is the correct answer. So anyhow, just something else to think about, considering, like I said, I think that would make a good video topic for another time. But anyhow, back onto this. Here are some of the responses both for and against. I'm going to focus on the ones that are generally against this guy's actions here, though. Now, to the credit of most of these people, I will say that the vast majority of what I'm reading here, they are completely for the man sitting there trying to mind his own business. But there are a few holdouts. Here are just a few of them. First one is from a Dorothy Mullis. Without knowing why the child was upset, child's ears could be hurting. She could be autistic and situations set up for her. Doesn't even make sense. I think it was very rude to say that. Yes, mom should have tried to do something to calm the child down, but he should have asked to move. What struck me about this is this lady's trying to find the most off the wall excuses as to why the child could be doing what, they're doing, but if you think about it, the way this is phrased here, you could use anything, any one of thousands of excuses to come up with why the child's doing what they're doing and why you should accommodate them and why you should simply move. Well, yeah, I mean, moving doesn't sound like such a bad idea, but, I paid for the window seat. I shouldn't have to accommodate someone else's rude child. The next one here says, the kid was a toddler. Have some compassion. Well, I understand that, and quite honestly, I can tell you from personal experience, it isn't that difficult to teach a toddler constructively. I mean, they're not stupid. A lot of people may think that kids that age are stupid, but they're not. They see and they notice everything. They take everything in. At that age, you can give a child a look and they know exactly when they should or shouldn't be doing something if you raise them right. This next one is a bit interesting and it's thought provoking because this is from a woman's perspective. It's not from a man. And if you think about it, a man cannot simply do this just because of the way men are now perceived in society. Debbie Higgins says this: I was on a 6-hour flight with a mom, and her 3-month-old would not stop crying. 3 of us moms took turns holding, rocking, and walking the child on the aisle to soothe the infant. The baby settled down and slept the rest of the flight. Try some compassion. Well, there's a few problems. The first one being you're comparing apples to oranges here. We aren't talking about an infant. We're talking about a toddler. An infant truly doesn't have control over their own actions. At that point, it's a freaking infant. You can't compare the two. But beyond that, I would be extremely, extremely surprised if there's a mother out there who would give her child over to a man and allow them to rock them to sleep or to walk up and down the aisle with. I mean, in today's society, a woman requesting that of another woman is one thing, but if a man even offered to do something like that, to which he's not entitled to, but if he offered to do that, I'm betting 9 chances out of 10 he's going to be looked at like a predator. Unfortunately, that's just that's just the way things are, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. Now we have Pamela here chiming in with, everyone is blaming the mama. How about, at the end of the day, the said child, no matter what age they are, is a fellow human being with their own feelings, emotions, and triggers. Oh boy, I know where this is going. Can't people come together and care for each other? What would you do if a sweet lady or gentleman was on a flight, was having an obnoxious emotional issue? Are you the type to ignore, or are you simply an awesome person? Or are you simply an awesome person that knows the world is not 100% about themselves and will take the time away from sitting on your ass to offer aid? The flight won't last forever, but people remember good people, kind people, patient people. We need these people. We need less shamers and blamers and more kindness and understanding. All right, well, this is interesting here. Now, once you get over the nonsensical woke overtones here, ultimately, at the end of the day, she is still trying to absolve the mother of any wrongdoing. That's the common theme with each and every one of these. The mother, the woman, is being absolved of anything. And instead of, you need to take care of your child, you need to raise your child right. You need to take the responsibility as a parent and bring what your child needs along to entertain them. I mean, you know them better than anybody else. You need to bring what you know will entertain them. So instead of blaming someone else, you need to take responsibility for your actions. And you have a toddler. You need to take the responsibility of your toddler's actions too. Ultimately, they are still just a toddler. But at that age, a toddler does have the ability to keep calm. And that's on you, the mother, since she was the one there to take care of that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it usually turns out easier simply to pucker up, accept things as the way they are, and move on from it. trying to find excuses or trying to blame someone else for your own child's mistakes, what you didn't teach your child, or what your child simply isn't capable of learning yet. It's counterproductive, and it makes you look like the idiot. I mean, the woman in here, just like quite a number of women, if not most women, she's doing her best to absolve herself of any wrongdoing. She's doing her best to make herself look like the perpetual angel. So instead of relying on somebody else, instead of looking to somebody else for the entertainment of your own child, you need to make sure that you bring along, especially on a flight, you need to make sure you bring along what you need for yourself and your child. If you bring in a child along, that's the way it is. It's that simple. So with that being said, I'm going to end things here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll have more content out for you pretty soon. Thank you much, and take care.